Hi, Dr. Tornatore. We are going to be letting all of our attendees join in. As they join in, I just want to say I'm super excited to have you. I've known Dr. Tornatore for probably a decade now.
Yeah.
And we were just chatting before we started that this is really an interesting time to be a therapist, and it's a different approach, right? We've seen so much of mindfulness and things take off after the pandemic, and I am grateful to have you here. For many years, Dr. Tornatore had helped me guide families as they were having sometimes a need for somebody out of the family atmosphere to come and give them some guidance and bring a more balanced approach to some decisions making when it comes to moving a loved one to senior living. But today, we are going to be talking about something different, which is moving on after the pandemic. And whether it's removing the mask, removing the fear, just removing what we thought was different at that time, and what we have learned right during the pandemic, and how can we move on with this new knowledge that now we have. So thanks for being here, Dr. Tornatore. I'll let you tell us more about what you have been doing, because I know you're a book author now too, in addition to being a local. So we're very pleased to have you here talking to our families from Gencare. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sandra. It's so exciting to have a long-term relationship, right? It's just so fun to have things continue, especially when the world is so disruptive. So I'm Dr. Jane Tornitor, and I've been a therapist for 18 years now, I think. One of my specialties is Alzheimer's, and the other specialty, which has come to the forefront, is anxiety, right? So it's been a fascinating time to be in the world, especially as my lens is anxiety. And everybody is feeling anxious right now. So what I would like to do, since you are taking your time to be here, is I love answering questions. So if you have any questions at any time, you can type them. And Sandra, if you would read them to me, that'd be great. I'm a very casual speaker, and I find these talks are so much better when I'm addressing the questions of the people listening. I mean, I got lots to say, but it always becomes more interesting when people bring their questions, and then you get help more too. So please feel free always. So I'm going to cover a few things because, well, actually, before I go through my outline, the first thing I want to say is if you are stressed, you are not alone. Everybody is freaking out right now, like everybody. And often we see other people and they seem like they're functioning pretty well and they seem like they have it all together. And inside, let me tell you, including me, we're all like, oh my God, what do I do? It's different now. We just changed things. Oh no, what do I do? What are they doing? What am I supposed to do? Is this right? Is this not? Like we're all having this constant questioning in our head, which is exhausting. So the first thing I want you to hear above everything else is it's okay that you're anxious. It's okay that you're confused and you don't quite know what to do. Everybody is feeling this way. No matter how they present on the outside, everybody is feeling uncertain and unsure. And our little human ego, which is just here to keep us safe, hates it when it doesn't know what it's doing. And honestly, nobody does right now, including therapists. I mean, we're all doing our best, and I've got lots of tools, but a lot of extra compassion is needed, both for ourselves and the other people we think are acting completely wacky and we completely disagree with them, which is happening a lot. So, and we'll cover that at the end, difficult conversations when we have diametrically opposed views. So what we're going to do first is cover kind of a way to view how to be with what's happening in the world and find our own agency with it. So it helps us let go of what is not actually in our control, even though we desperately want it to be. The second thing we're going to cover is a way to deal with these massive feelings that are coming up. Everybody's having big, big feelings right now. We have for the past 2 years. It's just a new level now that, things have opened up a little bit. There's a whole lot less certainty. The third thing is a tool to release your stress. Using your body, we do a lot with mindfulness, which is awesome, but our body speaks body language not mind language. So using our body to release our stress is a very important tool. And the last, we'll do the difficult conversations, and I'll give you both guidance and a very short sample of a difficult conversation. And I've got a handout, which Sandra will send out with the recording, with most of this written down. So you don't have to worry about writing stuff down. If you want to, and that's what helps you remember, go for it, but you don't have to. Okay, so let's get started. This first tool I learned from, I don't know, those of you, if you've heard of Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, book I read decades ago at this point. And I'd actually forgotten I'd read this part until I was sharing it with a client, and they said, oh, that's in Stephen Covey's book. And I'm like, awesome, now I can attribute it. Now, I've changed the names. So because my clients were confused, about the names Stephen Covey used. So I changed them to circles of power or agency and circles of victim or control. I'll just show you like a little picture. This is kind of this is, okay. Anyway, you kind of get the idea. It's so fun doing stuff on webinar. Okay, so when we are worried, our worries fall in one of 2 categories. Things we actually have control over, which is our behaviors and our actions. Those are the only things we really actually can ever really control. Now, we can try to influence other things, but at best it's influence, and it's other people deciding what to do with it. So it's literally out of our control. So I call this circle the victim, like, you're not doing it the way I want you to, so I'm having a really hard time, which is, where most of us spend our time, including me. Or the circle of control, as in, I want to control it. It should be under my control. If it were under my control, everything would be so much better, but it's not. So I'm frustrated, right? So whenever clients are really frustrated or angry, I'm like, where are you right now? And they go, I'm here in the circle of control, right? So most of us spend a lot of time there, especially when rules are changing, and some people are following the old rules and some people are following the new rules, and we're all judging each other. So this is a really good one to come to. So when you're frustrated, angry, feeling helpless or hopeless, come here and go, okay, so is there anything I can do about this right now? Is there anything at all? And if there is, do it now, because you're worried about it. If you can't do it now, like you're in the middle of your workday, you're in the middle of something, make a time in your mind, or write down, if you're a writer downer like I am, when you will address it, because it's stressing you. So it is important to address it. So decide what you want to try to do, and then make a time to do it. If you've tried, you've said things again and again, you've tried to make things happen, and the situation, the person, whatever, it just is not changing, which happens a lot with dementia, right? I don't know if you've got a family member with dementia, but their brain capacity is getting less. So they literally cannot change like they used to, and like we still want them to. So this is a really good tool if you love someone who has dementia, or actually any kind of issue. It's a good tool to just love somebody more. So I'll tell you a story. After I learned about this tool in a workshop, because I said I didn't remember it from the book, I was in the shower one day, and it was a really busy week. I had like 25 clients. I had a couple talks to prepare for. It was just, it was too much on my plate. I didn't know how I was going to do it. So I was literally in the shower, almost hyperventilating, going, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Where am I going to fit this in? How am I going to get those things? What am I going to do? And I'm like, wait a minute. I just learned a tool. I'm out here right now. I'm in the shower. I literally can't do anything right now except wash my hair. So I was like, okay. So as soon as I made the plan, as soon as I get out of the shower, I'm going to go to my calendar, because I still had paper calendars, and I did then too. And I'm going to write down the spaces in between clients where I can work on my talks. Okay, got it. That's the best I can do, is slot those spaces and then make time for them. Great. Okay, got it. A few minutes later, oh no, what am I going to do? Oh, I got so much. Wait a minute, I got a plan. Right, that's right. Yeah, I do. God, I do have a plan. I'll just be here washing my hair. And then a few minutes later, oh no, I have a plan. So this is not a tool that will magically take away your concerns. What it is it is a tool that will help you make a plan come into your circle of agency, and then settle down until you can put the plan into effect. Now, the other part of this is our behaviors and thoughts, right? So if we try to change, it isn't changing, then we come to, here's what is, now how am I going to be with it? People are not doing what I want them to. This disease is not doing what I want it to. How am I going to live with it? How am I going to think about it? How am I going to be with it? And then that's when we work on finding peace with what is versus constantly being out here, which is frankly a hamster wheel. This is an endless cycle that like just keeps going on and on, just like the little hamsters in the wheels. So we come here and go, okay, it's not the way I wanted. How do I find my peace with it? And that's where we put the focus of our energy. So what I all want us to do is, I can't see you, but these tools don't work until we actually use them. So I want to take some time now and have you all, if you have a piece of paper, great. If you can just think it in your head, that's better, do that. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to really think about it and put this into place. And if you want any help with it, you can type in a question and I'm happy to help you work through it. Okay, so first of all, think of something you want to control. You want to change, you desperately would like it to be different, but it hasn't been yet. So think of what that is. I'll give you a moment to think of something, although everybody's probably already done now. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Sandra. Now, come to the circle of power or agency. Is there something you can do to try to change it? Think of what is possible in an attempt to change it, because you want it to change, no problem. But just think of something actual versus, oh, I want it to change. Come in here and go, what could I do? Could I write a letter? Could I have a conversation? Could I make a call? Think of something you can do. That usually takes a little more time, so we'll give you some more time. Now, I want you to make a plan for when you can do it. It can be today, it could be next week, it could be next year. It doesn't matter, but make a plan, choose a time, because things much more, they're just going to happen if we make a plan. If we go like someday never happens. That's like, if I'm going to do my stretches, I do them in the morning, because if I'm like, oh, I'll do them sometime today never happens, and I'm going to bed without doing my stretches. So making a time is a super helpful tool. All right. So now, say you've chosen something and you take the action and it doesn't work. Then I hope it works. It would be super awesome. But I'd like you to take a little time now and say you try it, nothing changes. What would be a way to think about it that would be calmer? Like an example, masks, big deal right now, right? You're going out and about 50% of the people wearing them and 50% of the people are. If you're a mask wearer, you might be mad at the people who aren't. If you aren't a mask wearer, you might be judging the people who are, right? Everybody's judging. So what you can do, let's use that as an example because it's happening. You can go, okay, so I'm either wearing my mask or I'm not, whatever my choice is. I'm doing what's important for me. I'm either, choosing to be safer, or I'm either choosing to not wear my mask and have my face show, right? No judgment here. It's what you are choosing. It would be nice if everybody else chose what we chose, but they don't. So I'm doing what's important to me and what feels right for me. I am. And find your power in that. Because when we're out there searching for how other people should be, we forget and we leave ourselves. And we leave our own agency and our own power. Or you choose where to go or don't go based on, what feels best for you. And come there. And that's when we stop feeling so helpless and hopeless. Well, I'm doing what's right for me. I'm doing what feels good for me. Awesome. I wish everybody else I loved would too. Yes, that's true. That's out here. but I'm doing what's important for me. Yay, me. And let yourself rest a little in you taking care of yourself that way. Wishing other people would too, but we don't know what's right for other people, but we do know what's right for us, and let yourself rest in it. So are there any questions on that so far?
No, I think it's refreshing, right? To think of that, and I think you put a perfect example on the masking right
Right?
now. It's it happens everywhere, right? And I think for us to learn to just accept that the only thing we can control is what we can control within
Right.
ourselves. So thanks for that reminder.
Exactly. You landed it perfectly, Sandra. Okay, so we'll go on to the next thing, which is what I call the feelings model. Oh, feelings, blessed feelings. We spend most of our time trying to avoid them. I'll tell you the story of how I came up with this model, but basically we do three things with feelings. We either repress them. I don't want to feel them. They feel bad. Go away, go away, go away. We eat, we watch TV, we drink, we do all sorts, and we check our phone. We do all sorts of things to try to not feel our feelings. Or we feed them, which is, of course, I'm angry. Those people are acting like idiots. Why don't they do what's right? Why don't blah, 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 blah. Why doesn't this disease go away, right? Or virus, why doesn't it go like, oh, so we feed it, so we keep it around. So what is true about feelings is our body's neurochemical response when something stressful happens, or we even have a stressful thought, our body releases neurochemicals to respond to what's happening. Our body is always responding to what we're thinking, which is why mindfulness is so important. But if we let our body do its job, if we let the feelings run their course, the process is done in anywhere from, research has shown anywhere from 60 seconds to 2 minutes. Like literally, if we just feel our feelings, they're done in 2 minutes. Now, we hardly ever do that, right? I personally do a combination of both repressing and feeding. So I'll tell you the story of how I realized this. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so much simpler than I ever thought. So I had a friend who was selling massage packages. So I could get like a half price massage if I bought 3. I'm like, awesome. I can help her. I can save money. I can get massages. It's all good. Well, I got the first massage and it was great. And then I didn't schedule anymore. And one day I'm sitting in my living room and I'm thinking, wow, I wonder when that massage package is up, because it was a 6-month package. So I texted my friend and said, hey, when's that 6 months up? And she's like, next week. I'm thinking, crap, of 2 massages I didn't have. And I looked down her schedule online. She had no times open when I was available. So I got pissed. So I was sitting, walking around going, oh, I can't believe, why did you do those? Why did you buy 3 massages? That was stupid. I was totally judging myself. You should have known that you weren't going to use them. You should have used them. Feeding. Or, oh, Jane, don't cry over spilled milk. It's done. You wasted the money. It's fine. Stop doing a hissy fit. Repressing. Well, she should have let me know that it was almost 6 months, and so I could schedule so I wouldn't have lost the money. Feeding and blaming, right? So I was walking around just going, repressing and feeding. And then all of a sudden I stopped. I was in my kitchen. I can remember it still. And I was thinking, I'm just angry. And I don't want to feel my anger, period. And I thought, okay, well, went and sat on my couch and I just felt my anger. And by feeling anger, I mean, feel the physical sensations that were going on, which we so often don't want to feel, right? About 5 minutes later, I got up and I was like, oh, well, and I let it go, right? I came here, just feel your feelings. You can't change what happened. Just feel your feelings, let it go. And the really cool part of the story is not only did I stop making myself miserable, half an hour later, she texted and said, I'm willing to extend that if you want to. I'm like, awesome. And I booked next 2 sessions right there, right? So it was a very easy lesson. But so here's how you can use it in your life. It's a great, like, just feel your feelings. Great. Thanks, Jane. But most of us are not trained to do this. Most of us are trained to not pay attention to our feelings. So you are feeling your feelings and not repressing or feeding when you are focusing on the physical sensations that are going on in your body. And then if you are thinking, you are either repressing or you are feeding. So if you have any thoughts, just go, oh, I'm keeping it going. Oh, okay. And do your best not to judge yourself, because we all do this. Remember I said it's anywhere from 60 seconds to 2 minutes. The fastest I've ever gotten with a really intense emotion is 15 minutes. 5 minutes for kind of intense, but massages, nobody's going to die if I don't get a massage. It's not a big deal. I could let that one go. But still, even that one took me 5 minutes. So much grace as you feel your feelings. But here's the really interesting thing when you feel your feelings is you realize they're always changing. When we're repressing them or we're feeding them, they're all like, they get strong and they stay strong and they keep gnawing at us and they never go away. But if we just pay attention and if we can be curious about, wow, my stomach just got more into knots. I didn't even think that was possible. Wow, look at that. And closing your eyes frequently helps for this. And then you'll notice it gets less tense. And it might get more intense again if you have a thought, and then it gets less tense. Or it may change position. It may move from your stomach to your chest. I don't know. But if you are focusing on the physical sensations, you are helping your body do what it's supposed to do, which is just to feel. Like one of my favorite phrases is, they're feelings. They aren't stuckings. They're feelings. Just allow to feel. And this is super good for our body and our stress. The other thing that's really helpful about paying attention to our body and what it's physically feeling is when we focus on our body, our mind quiets down. Our mind becomes quieter when we focus on the physical sensations. So it's a two-part kind of thing. You're not only letting your body do what it's built to do, you're also helping your mind be quiet. So it's easier, a little bit easier to stop repressing and feeding. Okay, so once again, to put it into practice to see how it is in your life, we're gonna do an example for you of your own example. But here's the thing. Many of my clients, when they come to me, they're going, I don't feel anything. What do you feel? I'm angry. Great, that's awesome. That's the label. What are you physically feeling? Anger. Okay, great. Okay, that's really good. You're feeling angry. Great. What's happening in your body? I don't know. So this is normal because most of us learned, pay attention to what you're thinking, not what you're feeling. So if you do think that, or you're like, Jane, I got no way to do this, then I would urge you to imagine. If you were to imagine what anger would feel like in your body, where would you imagine it would be? Okay, so I'm gonna lead you through this right now. So what is something you're upset about? Like something in your life now, maybe not this moment, but that kind of goes grrr every time you think about it. Oh, I just wish it were this way. Why is it that I'm so mad about that? It might be about yourself. It might be about somebody else. It might be about the cloudy day today. I don't know, but choose something that's kind of upsetting you. Now, I want you to close your eyes and pay attention to what's happening in your body, including your head. Some people get a headache when they think about what's upsetting them, but pay attention. Notice what you notice, whether it seems related to what is upsetting you or not. And if you can't find something, do what we talked about earlier. Imagine where it would be in your body. This is not about finding the right place. It could be your little left pinky. It doesn't matter. Imagine where this feeling might be in your body. Now, imagine what color it would be. Once again, no right or wrong answer. Some people say colorless. Imagine what color this emotion would be. Imagine what a temperature it would be. Would it be cool, cold, hot, body temperature? Now imagine what, is it moving or still? Some people it's kind of a pulse. Some people it's a vibrating. Some people it's just still. And does it feel heavy or light? So as much as possible, be curious about this feeling, whether you're imagining it or it's like, oh yeah, Jane, I got it. It's right there. I can feel it exactly. Just place your curiosity and notice if it's changing at all. Notice if it's getting more intense or less intense, moving anywhere. And just allow yourself to focus on your physical sensations. And then we won't go the whole 2, or in some cases 5 or 15 minutes, but this is the process. And just take a moment and notice, think about that thing you were upset about, and notice if there's a different quality to what you're feeling about it now that you spend a little time letting your body process that emotion. Okay, if you have any questions on that, let Sandra know, type them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them. But in the meantime, I'll move on, knowing I'm still totally happy to answer questions. Okay, so let me move my little thing. Okay, so this next part is one of my favorites. It's called completing the stress cycle. Our body, as I said, like speaks in body language, not mind language. Like meditation is super awesome. I love it. Mindfulness, so helpful. But our body has a whole language of its own. So I'm going to give you an extra tool because most people forget, frankly, we forget to bring our body into the equation. And our body is a super important part of how we respond to stress. So basically, there are many ways to complete the stress cycle. Here are the ones that are my favorite. The first is exercise, aerobic exercise. It's always helpful. It gets our body moving. It releases stress. It increases dopamine. It's just good for our health. If there's a magic bullet in the world, if there's that magic pill we're all looking for, it's exercise. It's good for depression. It's good for Alzheimer's. It's good for everything. So I'm going to explain, I think, a little bit more about completing the stress cycle and why this is super important. So imagine you are in a village where there are tigers all around. And you go for a walk. You're like, I'm going to go for a walk. And then all of a sudden there's this tiger. And you're like, oh no. And you run back to the village where everybody is so they can be safe. And everybody comes out and you're like, tiger's coming after me. And they all come out and they all help you and they all shoo the tiger away. And they all go, yay, and high fives, and we beat the tiger, yay, I'm still alive, yay, thanks for helping, yay. And so we celebrate. Our body can relax because the tiger's gone. Well, we're using our body for this scenario. For us, most of our tigers are in our head. Every time you see someone doing something related to COVID that you don't agree with, the tiger comes out. And we're like, oh, right, Jane, stop judging, stop judging, stop judging, stop judging. Well, I may stop judging, but my body's still holding that residue of stress, right? So what we do is use our body to let us know we're safe. That same thing as the people in the village going, yay, high fives, yay, dancing up and down, yay, we're done, yay, yay, yay. Because we can't do this, complete the stress cycle. And the ones I'm going to talk about, I already talked about exercise. And I'm going to talk about shaking, crying, and breathing. We don't do any of that stuff if we're in danger, right? We're either running or fighting or freezing if we are in danger. We aren't taking time to celebrate, to move, to stretch, to shake, to cry if we are still in danger. So anytime we do any of those things, we are giving our body the signal, it's okay, you're safe, you can relax. You can let go of the stress. It's okay. So one exercise, always super helpful, best thing. Once the pandemic hit, and I love water aerobics, but water aerobics was out. So I bought a trampoline, I bought a little mini trampoline, and I jump on it every day. It makes me so happy. And after something really stressful occurs, or about, really I have a super stressful day or super stressful thought, I will just jump on the trampoline and let out some of my energy. Not everybody has trampolines. Not everybody wants a trampoline. But so what you can do, and I just love this because it is so fast. Do you ever watch those nature shows or maybe nature itself, and you see an animal being chased? And then when it's done being chased, it runs away from its prey and it's free. And then it shakes, it just shakes its whole body, right? Kind of like a dog when it gets out of the water. What it's doing is it is using its body to release the cortisol and adrenaline that was created by being chased by this, whatever was chasing it, the fox chasing the bunny. So it's shaking out the cortisol and adrenaline. And cortisol and adrenaline are what our body creates when we're under stress, either with a thought or with something outside of us. So we can do our own version. So if you're in an area where nobody will look at you, or if you are and you don't care, yay on you, I want you to really shake. And I'm going to actually stand up. I'm going to show you the whole thing. So I'm going to shake. And it's literally like shaking all parts of your body. If you can, shake with me because it's going to feel awesome. And shake. And now I'm going to stand up and like really just wiggle around and jump up and down, jump from foot to foot and shake, and just really let yourself, maybe put your arms above, put your arms below, shake your hips, shake your butt, shake your shoulders, just shake, shake, shake. We're going to do it for a few more minutes. Shake, 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 shake. Really let yourself a little more, stomp your feet. I feel awesome. So what this is doing is I didn't have any cortisol, but I just feel the energy moving now. So this is the fastest way. Sometimes if I'm in public and something stressful happens, like I almost got in a car accident or something, and I'm in a public bathroom, I'll go in the bathroom and I'll shake in the bathroom, right? Because this is the fastest way to let our body know I'm safe. Crying, it makes me so sad when people don't cry. You see them about to cry and they're like, and they hold it all back. Well, we're actually doing a disservice, because crying is one of the ways we release stress from our body. I can't remember. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think I remember it's like something comes out in our tears that's related to stress. But crying is a very good stress release. So if you want to cry and you're in a place you can cry, go for it. It is a great way to reduce your stress or release your stress. And the last thing I want to talk about, and you've heard this a lot, I'm sure, is breathing. Breathing is a fabulous way to reduce our stress, and most of us don't do it correctly. For some reason, we're all taught, or we learn, to not fully breathe, which is fascinating to me, but it's what we do. So I'm going to give you 2 different types of breathing, and I want you to do both with me and see which feels better for you, because this is all about finding tools that work for you and your body. So the first breath exercise is called the box breathing. It was developed by Navy SEAL. And sorry, my hair is, I love webinars because I can just see all the funny things my hair is doing. It was developed by Navy SEAL, and those people know stress, right? So it's called box breathing because it's breathe in for count of 4, hold for count of 4, breathe out for count of 4, and hold for count of 4, in the shape of a box. And it makes it so much easier to remember. There's one breathing exercise, which is really good for sleep. And it's something like 6, 5, 7 or some, I can never remember it. I can't remember it. I can never do it because I'm like, how many breaths are there in each thing? So box breathing is super simple for me. When you're breathing, what's really important, or actually more helpful, is breathe through your belly. Most of us breathe through our chest. When we breathe through our chest, it activates the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight nervous system. When we breathe through our belly, it activates the parasympathetic, which is the rest, digest, heal part of our nervous system. And part of the reason this long-term stress is so bad for us is because we can't settle our body into the parasympathetic, where it does its regeneration of cells and heals all the stuff going on and releases toxins and stuff. Our body needs to be in parasympathetic in order to do that. And most of us are walking around going, oh my God, I'm so stressed. So our body can't repair itself like it can when we activate our parasympathetic. So parasympathetic activation is your friend, and breathing is the simplest way to do it. So breathe, you can breathe through your chest, but see if you, as you're breathing in, put your hands on your belly and see if you can expand your belly. So I'm going to lead us through the box breath. You can keep your eyes open or closed, whatever feels best for you. So, okay, so breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. One more. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Now close your eyes and just notice your breathing. Notice how your body feels. I forgot to have you notice it before we did it, but people almost always notice more relaxation, deeper breaths, like their shoulders release, their stomach gets a little calmer, their brows are a little less furrowed. So that's one. It's super effective. I think because for every in-breath, which activates our sympathetic, fight or flight, there was 3 parasympathetic, the holding the breath, parasympathetic, the breathing out, parasympathetic, the holding is parasympathetic. So we've got 3 times activating the parasympathetic for every time we activate the sympathetic. Every breath in activates the fight or flight. Every breath out activates the rest, digest, heal. Now, for some people, the hold is stressful. So this is not good for them. If you're one of those people, this next breath is going to be much better for you. If you're one of the people that's not stressful, do that one. It's so helpful. In fact, I was once, years ago, I was in Las Vegas with a friend of mine. We were driving on the highway, and she said, I'm having a panic attack. And I said, oh, okay. Do you want to pull over? She's like, no, if I move, I don't know what I'll do. Like, I don't know if I can control my actions. And luckily we're in Las Vegas, which is very straight. Like we're outside of the strip. It was very straight, like long straight road. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, box breathing. I'll do box breathing. So I just led her through box breathing, and it literally let her panic attack pass. So box breathing is super powerful. Any breathing is super powerful. I'm a big fan of box breathing. So the second one I want to share with you is just breathing out longer than you're breathing in. It depends on your lung capacity. And frankly, the more you do this, the easier it is to hold it longer. But I'm going to do a count of 4 in and a count of 6 out. And once again, keep your eyes open or closed, whichever you like. And if you can, put your hand on your belly and your chest to make sure that your belly is expanding, because that does extra goodness in activating your parasympathetic. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once again, close your eyes and notice what you feel in your body now. My breathing always gets slower. And what I love about the box breath is when I first do it, I always like to experiment to see if stuff really works before I pass it on to anybody. And for the box breath, instead of counting, I'm sure it would be true for any kind of breathing, but I did it on the box breath. I counted using my heartbeat. So when I started, it was like, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe in, 2, 3, 4. So what I noticed is I had proof right away that it was working for my body because my heartbeat was slowing down. My body was, I could feel my body relaxing. Because when we're stressed, our heartbeat raises. Like every breath in, your heartbeat speeds up. Every breath out, your heartbeat slows down. So I had physical proof of like, oh my goodness, this thing really works. So if you want, experiment on your own, do the breathing and pay attention to your heartbeat and notice how it slows down because it will slow down. It can't help because you're activating the parasympathetic. All right, so we're going till 10:50. Is that right, Sandra? And then questions?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. So I want to move into the difficult conversations. Super fun. So, and this is going to be on the handout. So there are 4 things that are super helpful if you're going to have a difficult conversation. The first is acknowledge the importance of the relationship and your hope for the outcome of the conversation. For instance, our friendship, our work relationship, our partnership, whatever it is very important for me. I love you, or I like you, or I respect you, and I want that, I want this relationship to continue. So that's acknowledge the importance of the relationship and your hope for the outcome of the conversation. I hope this conversation will help us move through this rough patch or help us better understand each other or just help us both feel kind of more understood, like help us both feel more heard. So acknowledge the importance of the relationship and what you hope the good thing that will happen from the conversation. 2, if the relationship is a safe one, which not all are, but if it's safe and you can share, state any nervousness about having the conversation. Like if somebody's going to make fun of you, if you express any nervousness, don't do it. But if you're in the kind of relationship, this is the a partnership, friendship, workship, whatever, family ship, where it's safe, say, I'm kind of nervous about having this conversation. And I personally am a big fan of this because whenever somebody says it to me or I say it to somebody else, there's an immediate softening. Oh, you mean you're not so sure and you're just not going to yell at me and tell me I'm wrong? You mean you're scared? Oh, and it opens our heart a little bit to the other person. And if we have, if it's a safe relationship and we share, it opens their heart a little more to us. It makes us more open to the conversation. So I'm just a little scared. I'm scared of how it's going to go. Or I'm scared of what you'll think about me. Or I'm scared of, offending you or whatever it is. And then you take note on what you already agree on. Like, let's use the mask one. I know we all want to be healthy. Like nobody wants anybody to get sick here. We all want to be healthy and we all want to do it the easiest, best way possible. We all do. And that agreed, because when, especially these days, we're all so bifurcated and separated that it's us or them, yes or no, right or wrong, good or bad, versus we all want to be safe. We all want people we love to be safe. None of us wants to go willy-nilly around hurting people or anything, right? Or we don't even really want to judge people, but we're doing it. So, most of us, I've read this again and again, and it's always true. We all have way more similarities than we have differences. It's just that when we're scared and we don't know what's happening and the world is so unpredictable, we tend to spend more time on the difference. That's our focus versus how similar we are in so many ways. So once again, take note on what you already agree on and state it out loud. And if you're doing this in a letter, it works just as well, or Nemo. Then bring curiosity in. Curiosity is so important, and I'll tell you why in a moment, but say something like, I'm curious, how are you feeling about this conversation? I'm curious, how did what I just say land with you? I'm curious about how, what your response is. One, people are thrilled when we're curious about them. Oh, you care about what I think? Wow, thanks for letting me know. Yay, you care, yay. I mean, nobody's going to actually say that. I mean, I would, but most people are like, they'd be like, oh, maybe I misunderstood you. Maybe you don't think I'm an absolute idiot. Huh, weird, right? But the brilliant thing about curiosity is it activates our right brain. And our right brain is the part of our brain that goes, it's all good. We're okay. No judgment. We're all good. Everything's love. Present moment is great. We're fine. The right brain, the right part of our brain is what I like to call my bigger self. The part of me that operates from compassion. Left brain is more judgment. It's figuring out what to do, but it's definitely judgment, right? Right brain is my compassionate self. So anytime I can bring that in, and curiosity brings in our right brain. So I'm just gonna read a little sample conversation. I know we both want to remain healthy. I'm a bit nervous about talking about this because we feel differently about how to stay healthy. We already agree we're not going to go around licking doorknobs. Humor also is super helpful. I would like to discuss what we're each going to do to feel okay as we go out into the world more. Notice I'm bringing us right into this circle. What we're each going to do to feel okay as we are going out into the world more. Here's my idea. Blank, 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 blank. I would like to hear yours. How do you feel about my suggestion? So it is amazing to me how much better conversations are when we show our caring, show their importance, we show our curiosity, we show our common ground, and we share our hopes for what's possible versus the divide that's there right now. So I hope you got some useful tips to reduce your stress, and you've got some guidance for conversations, which I know we are all having right now. And it's awesome if you're beating yourself up, use that script for yourself. I know you do care about the world and about other people and about yourself. I know you're having a hard time right now and you're not sure what you're doing, but I hope I know we can walk through this. Like talking to ourselves, I'm gonna be okay. I got some things to try. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep figuring out. I'm gonna do breathing, lots of breathing and lots of shaking. All right, thank you very much. We're open for questions.
Thank you, Dr. Tornatore. I love that we did this in the morning so that we're starting the day with a calmer breathing pattern. So, well, that's my takeaway always, right? And as many times as we may hear it, it's always a good reminder and to force ourselves to stop and doing that. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them on the chat. I think the conversation with ourselves is going to be as important. So thanks for reminding us to put ourselves there first too, and just give ourselves kudos for what we're doing, right?
Right.
And
that's so important, Sandra. I'm so glad you said that because we're all having such a hard time. And we learned that praising ourselves, even like, oh, nice job, you didn't hit that person, right? I mean, even little praise is seen as bad when it is what is going to help us walk through. Like, oh, I'm doing the best I can. I did really well. I haven't killed anybody today. Yay me. That is, I mean, I'm being funny there, but that is what helps give us that sense of agency when we do feel so helpless. So I'm so glad you mentioned that self-compassion and I'm going to use the word praise because it's accurate. That kind talk maybe is a word that's more acceptable. That self-compassion is going to serve us well, because when we are compassionate with ourselves, always, 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 we are more compassionate with other people. I mean, it's just how it works.
Thank you. And the self-awareness, right, to our feelings. I mean, what a takeaway. I have to admit, I had a headache at the beginning of the call, and all the breathing and acknowledging, I was like, oh, I don't feel it anymore. It's
awesome.
It's good. I will take that anytime. So I hope everybody is taking away a couple things, 2, 3 things that we can walk away today. It's fantastic. Thanks for your words of wisdom. We appreciate you. And we will be following up today with an email to all of our attendees, as well as people that register with the Zoom webinar. Feel free to share it, and the attachment of the tools that you have provided us today. So thank you so
Awesome.
much. And we
Thank
will
you
be
so
seeing
much,
you next
Sandra.
week. Have a
Yay.
great
Okay.
day.
Bye. You too.
Bye-bye.